Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site, and we just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Yeah, thanks to every one of you guys that have been contributing to YouTube, the community. We wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without the help of this community. Thanks a lot. Without the help of this community.
Cult behavior is an interlaced pattern of behaviors that enable specific kinds of groups to form, sustain, and grow. We characterize these groups as cults because of these specific behaviors exhibited from all members of the group, with varying levels of frequency and intensity. Quote, "The structure of cults is basically authoritarian. Obedience and hierarchical power tend to take precedence over truth and conscience when they conflict, which they often do. Unfortunately, certain psychological benefits can make authoritarian groups very attractive. They provide the opportunity to feel protected and cared for."
We received a threat saying that people will come here and execute every single person they see on campus. At that point, fuck free speech.
When we're dead, when people die, and you're sitting here like, well, at least they got to practice their free speech. I'm so sorry about it. Your free speech is not more important than the lives of like black, trans, femmes, and students on this campus. I'm so sorry. Exactly. Hate to break it to you.
Love you. Yeah, fuck free speech.
Come here and kill a bunch of indigenous people to put your fucking flag on?
I didn't kill anybody. And neither did my parents. My parents
Your actions
My parents came here from Cuba. They came through Ellis Island through the proper channels and became citizens.
It's not about it being legal. It's about that America is open to help. You're just being closed-minded. And you guys killed a bunch of people.
Are you Mexican?
Yes, I am Mexican.
Do you know what happened if I went to your country illegally?
Nothing.
Oh no, you are completely wrong. You are completely
There's a bunch of people. The woman who raised me for my 17 years of life is no shit. People are still exploiting Mexican people here, and you're not doing it.
About the Marine that was held in a Mexican jail for almost a year because he was there without papers. He made a wrong turn.
13-year-old poser trying to be an activist, but you're not. You probably literally have nothing better to do. See, he has nothing to say, folks. That's how they operate. Maybe I could find somebody else. Do you have anything to say? Nothing to say. See, you know my name, but I don't know your name, proving again how much more relevant I am than you are.
You're a real player.
Yeah. And you have nothing to say either? No? Okay. Do you have anything to say, sir?
Fuck off.
Fuck off, that's all you got to say?
Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Do you think that's smart? Do you think that's intelligent? Did you research that? Did you come up with that at home?
That is such an asinine thing to say.
Yeah, a little.
No, it absolutely is an asinine thing to say, and you even know it.
Yeah.
And that's why I've got nothing but fuck off to say to you.
Because I asked you why you said
to you.
off.
To you.
Clearly you're an idiot and you don't do your research.
No, because
you
you're
just stand up and you're sweating
piece
to
of
death
shit.
because you got this covering your face. Look at how stupid this is. This is a cool person. Because I haven't eaten anything today. I actually haven't eaten a goddamn thing today.
Full of shit.
And this stupid thing is wobbly as fuck.
Just like you pull in and you just get spit right out of them. And you just drop in and just smack the lip. Whoop-ah! Drop down. Snap. Ah! And then after that, you just drop in, just ride the barrel and get pitted. So pitted.
So do you support communism?
Absolutely.
Why do you support communism?
I'm not talking to you.
Do you think it's worked before in the past?
Fuck off.
Do you think it works today?
Fuck off.
That's their tactic as a hand. Look at that. It's brilliant. It's so smart. I'm going to give you a better look at maybe an underneath angle at the hand. These guys are absolute jokes.
Talk to the hand.
Have you ever looked into any of the hate crime statistics in Toronto?
I actually haven't.
So you're not too aware of which group gets targeted the most or anything like that? Which group would you suspect is targeted the most by hate here in Toronto?
I mean, it would probably be, I don't like to say black people, but people of color in general.
Okay, but Jewish people are actually targeted the most?
Really?
30% of all hate crime in Toronto is directed towards Jews.
Wow.
Second is...
What's the, like, what is your shit? Like, where are you coming from? What's your side of it? Where's he coming from?
Well, I mean, I am biased.
Okay,
I'm not
in
gonna
what
lie.
way?
I'm a right winger. You know, you might be surprised to hear that I support Trump.
Do you know that that's kind of why everyone's here? You're coming to a protest where everyone's trying to gather for a major issue, and you're going to say, well, this person gets targeted more than this person. Like, that's divisive, and I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want to be on your podcast anymore, so please walk away.
Well, no,
please walk away. I don't want to be recorded by you anymore.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Other side of the wall for you. If Andrew don't get it, shut it down. If Andrew don't get it, shut it down. If Andrew don't get it, shut it down. I said if Andrew don't get it, shut it down.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
When he was totally a black guy whose name basically was James Earl Jones,
Right.
but while he was black, he was terrible and bad and awful and used to cut off white men's hands and didn't, you know, actually claim his son. But as soon as he claims his son and goes over to the good, he takes off his mask and he is white. Oh yes, I have many feelings about that, but I will try to put them over here.
Huh?
So it's women's fault when they feel threatened every day of their lives that they say that. I'm 17 years old and I'm walking to school. Every day I'm looked at for my body and constantly talk about how my food and my body is not okay.
I'm sorry you feel
How
that
do
way.
we not live in a
I'm sorry you feel that way.
How do we not live in a patriarchy?
Feel the need to go shirtless, so it doesn't affect me in that sense, but the law itself is just a representation of how women are oppressed by the laws of our country.
I'm trying to show breasts in a non-sexual sense, because one of the reasons we constantly think that it's about sex is that you generally only see nudity on a female if it's a sex scene, if it's in porn, if it's, you know, erotic art or whatever.
I feel like we've been hiding our breasts for too long and allowing society to over-sexualize our nipples, and it doesn't have to be a sexual thing. I can walk around and it being perfectly normal, and by doing this we're allowing everyone the chance to be normal. With their body and comfortable with their body enough to love themselves and to try it out on their own.
And so you are a poor, deluded ignoramus.
Wow, that's not very nice, ma'am.
It's true. It's true. You're taking up the class interest of the rich people with your racism and xenophobia.
Racist? I'm not racist.
Oh, but what's wrong with building a wall?
What's wrong with building? No, but you still haven't told
Guess
me.
who is here first?
Who? I was born here.
People.
I was born here.
Yeah, but not very long ago, right?
So what?
So who is here first?
Everybody alive today wasn't born here. Was born here not that long ago. Hey, don't hit people.
We wouldn't, as a movement, take a seat at the table with Trump because we wouldn't have done that with Hitler. Trump is literally the epitome of evil. All the evils of this country, be it racism, capitalism, sexism, homophobia, resist him, and to resist every single policy that he's implemented that impacts our communities. And I think if I'm thinking about what I want my children to know in 30, 40, 50 years, I want them to know that I resisted a president at all costs, because this president literally tried to kill our communities.
Let's ask you a question. So I assume it's an article of faith with you and with many others in Black Lives Matter that Trump is a bigot. If you found out that Trump or any of his supporters had a meeting or a party and excluded people who were not white from that event, what would you say about that?
Then I would say for Trump, that's probably par for the course. I would not be surprised if Trump has already had several meetings in which he excludes people who are not of color. You can look at the pictures of his roundtable, of his interns, of everyone who he has
just to be clear,
with the exception of Omarosa and Ben Carson, he pretty much has already done that.
So, I mean, there's no evidence for what you said, but we know for a fact that Black Lives Matter across the country in a bunch of different cities, this is not speculation, it's a fact, they've said it, they've talked about it, has excluded people who weren't black. Why is that not racist? If you're an anti-racist organization, why are you excluding people on the basis of their skin color?
We're on the side of the demons, Chief. We're evil men in the gardens of paradise, sent by the forces of death to spread devastation and destruction wherever we go. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
No, the Black Lives Matter Twitter account said very clearly it referred to specific events as, quote, black only. There were a bunch of news stories about it. I'm not making this up. I've done interviews about it before. But it gets to a core question, which is how can you be against racism while committing it? It's a definition of racism to prevent people from coming to something based on how they look, based on their race. I think you would agree with that. You already did agree with that. So how can Black Lives Matter commit racism and be against it at the same time?
Stop.
Why are we here today? We are here to talk to President Reevely and let him know about our demands. And besides letting him know, which because he already knows, most of them come from the Race and Race Relations Task Force, we're going to talk about how we're actually going to see these things implemented in a timely fashion, because that so far has been the problem. So please stay tuned, and thank you all for being here with us.
At least from my perspective, I don't deal in demands. I don't make demands of other people. I don't expect to receive demands from people. Not just from the Black Lives Matter movement, from any movement, is to come and say, we have demands. As opposed to, we got a problem. We need to do better. Here are some ways in which we think this institution, this community, can move to do better.
The suggestion thing, yes, interesting point. I'm going to disagree. So suggestions...
That is the beauty of the First Amendment.
Exactly. Good. I'm glad we can put that to work. So anyway, suggestions, recommendations, it kind of assumes that the fact that it's not necessary. So if I suggest to someone, maybe you should do this.
That's not the way the world works.
Okay, well, that's the language that I'm getting. So
I'm into
we should suggest things that should be changed. It kind of seems that
no, a strong recommendation is fine.
Well, I mean,
Look,
I just think that
you just hit one of my hot buttons, so I'll go back in my cage on that. It is not effective, in my opinion, to approach other people and say, we demand, unless you have the capacity to demand.
and are lining up at electronic stores across the country. I know this is hard to believe. This may sound like just more fake news from CNN, but it does appear to be a fact. We're getting reports from across the country letting us believe that this is not just an isolated incident, but this zombie apocalypse appears to be happening across the entire country.
I'm allowed to break the law. I'm allowed to break the law.
I have no response to that.